let's let him speak for himself. Please welcome David Matthew Brown.
Thank you for that introduction. Let's thank Tommy. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, so I will bring it back up again. But my uncle is a Roman Catholic priest, and he served in Tanzania for 5 years on a tribe. And he speaks Swahili, he speaks like 8 different languages. So when he opens up his services, he always opens it up with, so that's how we're going to open up this to wake you guys up to the truth. Ready? I'm going to do it, then you guys can do it back. Ready? It's very useful that if you feel like you're having a bad day, just do that. And you can laugh at yourself a lot more because we're here to be playful, to love, and to laugh, and all that good stuff. My title is called Ambushed by Love, because as you know, coming to Unity and other spiritual centers, there is only one power. And that power is love. That power is all in all. That power is everywhere present. You cannot go where that power is not. You cannot be where that power is not. You cannot live a life where that power is not. That power is the only power in this universe. Right? Universe means one song. So if universe helps you with the message, that's fine too. But we're going to choose to use God here at Unity because I'm comfortable knowing that each and every one of us are children of God, that we are childlike. We are childlike. We are reflections of the image and likeness of that power. I pulled a Reverend Nicole when I was looking at the book of the month, and I said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a page, and whatever page comes up, I'm going to speak on that. And what came up was conflict. Right? Not running from conflict. Does that sound familiar? Because I guarantee that you guys are all perfect, individualized spiritual beings, and running from conflict is nothing that you do. I saw a sergeant speak. He served in Iraq. He was about 28 years old, and he was talking to a group of people. And he said in his command, he commanded over 20 other soldiers. So you go through all sorts of different tactical things before you go to Iraq, how you deal with different situations. So does anybody here know how you deal with an ambush, if you're ever ambushed? Because you may be ambushed. Anybody know what your first response is to an ambush?
Run.
Run, right? That's a good one.
Take cover.
Take cover. Anybody else?
Dig in.
Right? Dig in. You actually go right at it. When you're ambushed, you actually go right at it. Which brings me to David and Goliath. And David and Goliath, my parents had me listen to the tape when I was a kid, read by Burl Ives. And it always seemed as though David in the story that I listened to was this hapless man that just had a sling and was looking at this 9-foot giant and just had a prayer, and that prayer was going to be answered some way, right? But really, when you read the Bible, when you read about David and Goliath, what's magnificent about that story is that David so loved God and so knew that right where he was love and safety, that nothing could ever hurt, harm, or touch him, that he not only slung a rock at Goliath, he actually ran right at him. A shepherd, the other soldiers were like, there's no way, right? No way. I'm not fighting this guy. But David, a shepherd boy, knew that he was so loved by God and that God so loved his children that he has never abandoned any of you. Because you are built in the image and likeness of God, which means that you are an eternal reflection of that which is. Meaning that, I'll put it to you this way. Let's say that you had sunlight coming off the sun. You are the sunlight coming off the sun. So every quality that God has, you have. So why not be childlike? Why not live in safety? You know that God loves you right where you are. And when you feel that love, when you know that you are loved, that worthiness which you crave for in another person, which you ask for, which you demand of from other people in your life, when they don't give it to you, you seem bummed out by it. That worthiness then becomes who you are. You are a full reflection of that which is, right? And being that full reflection means that there is only love everywhere that you go. So when you come to a place of conflict, is it that you're in conflict with the person, or are you more conflicted about the concept that you've created about them, which is not loving? If in fact when we come here in unity, there is only love, right? There is only one law, and that law is love. That law is God. That law is God is all there is. And in Genesis 1, it says that you are built in that image and likeness. It says that you are good. That God created all in a spiritual sense, and it was good. So there's nothing left for God to do. Because you're innately good. So your thoughts are good. Your thoughts are spiritual. Your life is spiritualized. Right? So your life is holy. That you are holy love. Which is what Jesus preached and practiced to his disciples and to people. All he said was that you are holy love. And yet when we have a conflict with someone, is it really that we're conflicted, or are we conflicted that right now we don't believe that there's all loving presence, that we then believe that there's someone that has more power than God in front of us? So when you feel unworthy, what you're believing is that there is another power outside of the allness of love that is in existence. If you don't find that funny, I don't know what you're going to find funny. So you are walking in love. You are basking in love. You are walking in the allness of love. There can be nothing against you. You cannot be hurt, harmed, or touched. So is it that you're in conflict with someone, or are you conflicted within yourself that there's two powers? Now, if there's two powers, what we learn in unity and what we learn at other spiritual centers is that there are two powers. You just recited to me something so perfect, which is that there's one power, there's one presence, there's one love, and you know what? You're built from that presence. You're here to experience the law of love. Jesus, the only thing that Jesus ever talked about was there's one law, and it's God, and it's loving. So some of you may be asking yourself, well, wait a second, David. I am in conflict with somebody. I am in conflict in different places in my life. And yet they are unresolved. So then I will ask you, are you in conflict with the person again, or are you in conflict with the concept that you've created about them, which is probably not loving? Can you resolve the fact that maybe you've created a story about them that is not loving, and then continue to perpetuate that story out in your life as truth? But truth is the cure. Truth cures everything. When you come in alignment with truth, when your thoughts are in alignment with truth, right, which are loving, which are sharing, which are childlike, right? Harper said to me the other day, and for those of you that do not know who Harper is, she's my 3.5-year-old daughter. And rather than praying at night, we just talk about different qualities of God, because I figure she already knows it all. And she doesn't know what prayer is because she's already living in love and knows love. So she doesn't know any conflict, right? Because she only knows love. Right? So we talk about love. And so she said to me, she said, Dad, a flower is made out of love, and it wants you to smell it. You are made out of love, and yet sometimes in each of your lives you decide that you don't want people to smell your love. You decide to withhold it, like you can withhold something you naturally are. So you play a game with yourself. I'm withholding love from this person because they didn't treat me the way that I want to be treated. But yet the way that you're treating yourself is unlike love, right? So we can't withhold our natural tendency. So here we are, we find ourselves in conflict, right? In disharmony. Because love is harmonic. It's always in harmony. See, God created everything and it was good, so it's already in harmony. So what is your prayer? Your prayer is to be in harmony. God knows nothing of your conflict. God knows nothing of sickness. God knows nothing of error. Because God created you in goodness. So the places that you aren't dwelling in goodness, the places that you aren't dwelling in love, the places where you are withholding from somebody, are the places where when you go to prayer, you just ask to see harmony. And if you can't see the harmony right now, the way that you honor love is you pray for that person. When we look at the word honesty, it means respect. Do you respect yourself right now to be honest with yourself about not being loving with somebody or not being loving with yourself? If you're not being honest with yourself, then you're not loving yourself. You don't respect that you're loved, that you're created from goodness, that you're a reflection of God, that your innate birth never came from your parents, that your innate birth is spiritual. Make sense? Somewhat? Because what I'm telling you should make sense in this little mind that's like, we go to meditation to quiet it, to surpass what we know, to get to what we should know and who we naturally are. We are knowers. You know, when we come into metaphysical principle, or we come into spiritual principle, or we come into all sorts of Buddhist principles or Zen principles, they talk about this witnesser, this thing that's witnessing your thoughts. Do you ever notice that you're aware of your thoughts? And who is that aware of? Who is aware of your thoughts? Do you ever ask yourself that? Who is seeing? What is hearing right now? I choose to look at that witnessing as spirit. That spirit is limitless, that spirit is perfect, that it is supreme. And spirit, it's so amazing that it's looking at its thoughts, and at some point it goes, what? This isn't who I am. And then it starts getting really firm with it, and it becomes, as we talked about earlier, the watcher of the door. The watcher of the gate. What do you let into your house? What do you let into consciousness and that you believe about yourself? Right? So when we meditate, what happens is we become kind of cat-like. We're watching the mouse's door and seeing what the next thought's going to be. Ask yourself right now, out loud, what's my next thought? See how quiet it got? Because now you just became dominion. That's what dominion's like. So if you ask yourself when it says, God called you to be dominion, right? God made you to be dominion over yourself. Now dominion's a practice, right? So if you're in conflict with somebody, if you're standing in the storm in your life, you then are being asked to gain dominion over that aspect of your life with you seem to be withholding love. Conflict is withholding love. That's all it is. It's a mesmerized story that you're telling yourself that love is not here. And then we come here to remember in this school that we are only love. So we are ambushed by love all the time. You're never ambushed by fear, because fear doesn't exist. Fear was never created by God, so it can't exist. Right? And we hear it all the time, metaphysical things, and false evidence appearing real. But wouldn't it be great once you get it? Because I can lead you to the gate, Reverend Nicole can lead you to the gate, John can lead you there, Tommy can lead you there with music, right? We have all sorts of people that can lead you to the door. Are you willing to walk in that door right now? Are you willing to heal yourself right now? This isn't one of those moments where you turn on, what is it, TCN, or whatever the Christian network is, and there's all sorts of loud vocalized music and people jumping around, speaking different languages, right? Like that, right? This is the truth, and what we're talking about is love, right? And love is subtle, love is kind, love is patient, right? Love right now is sending love to that boy, because that's all you knew to do. Dear God, we send love to him right now. We send love knowing that right where he is wrapped in the safety and the love of you. That right where he is, love is. Do you do that with your friends and family? Strangers, people that you're in conflict with? God, I know that I'm about ready to go into a business meeting, but let me acknowledge first, before I enter that room, that you've already met me in that room. That divine love meets every need. I know that right where that boy is, divine love is. I know that right where each of you are is divine love. And I know that that meets every need. Right? Before I go into a situation that may appear to be conflicted, I have to first get comfortable with what I'm thinking about. And then I have to acknowledge the truth. And the truth is divine love is here. Love is present. So if I know that walking into a room, what happens? God's in control. No longer it's not my will, thy will be done. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will is done here on earth as it is in heaven. Let me understand what that will is. Doesn't it get tiring trying to willpower? Isn't that exhausting? Because then willpower always leads to negative feelings. Because then the expectation that you have isn't being met. It's not selfless, it's selfish sometimes. Right? But that selfishness ambushes us with love. Because now we're conflicted, and it looks like it's another person. It looks like it's our job. It looks like it's our finances. It looks like it's our health. But really it's God ambushing us with love. God saying, you know what? I've been here for you all the time. When are you going to listen? I created you. I created you as love. Let go of your concepts of people. See love, right? David knew so well about divine love that if you look at Psalm 23, right? The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. What does that mean? It means I shall not want anything else in my life but God. So when you crave somebody else's opinion about you, there's two powers going on. Right? That's why when you have dinner at your house and you're blessing the food, why do you bless the food? Blessing in Greek, when you break it down, means happiness. Blessing is happy. Are you happy with what you have? Jesus fed the multitudes. Why? He had like 5,000 people there. Some bread and some water. People were panicking. That's not going to be enough for us. What did he do? He didn't turn to the masses. He looked up to heaven and said, thank you for what we have. And you know what happened? It multiplied. He knew what his source was. Your source is not your friends, not your family, not strangers, not your partners, it's not your kids. It's nothing but God. God is your source. And God blesses you even now. Right? When we tithe here later on, we tithe out of gratitude. We don't tithe because we need to. We tithe because we say, thank you for the message. Thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for allowing me to remember who I am. When you give to an organization, you do the same thing, right? When you drop a microphone, you remember, thank you. Right? Your kids, you know? Watch kids. They're always in love. And if they feel like they made a mistake and they know that they have, what do they say? I'm sorry. And then they move on. They forget. There's an instantly forgetting. We don't. We go, I'm sorry. So good to remember this. I'm going to remember this and play this over my head over and over because I do not want to forget this. Because this will protect me. So when I get into another relationship, I will know that I am protected from this. So that's not loving. That's being demonstrative. That's being willful. That's saying that there is no power, that I'm powerful. Right? In Psalm 91, what does it say? I am of God. That should take off some pressure from you. I am of God. It doesn't say I'm God. It doesn't say we're all gods and we can do whatever we want and we can run over people and we can be greedy and lustful and you know, whatever, and beat people up and and kill people and do all the nonsense that we do, what does it say? It says, I am of God. And because you are of God, in Genesis 1, you are good, you are loving, you are peaceful, you are kind. And when you fully realize that God is all there is, this will make sense to you. Peace be still. Fear not. My children, there's nothing to fear. You are wrapped in love. So when that conflict comes, be like David in David and Goliath and run at it. Run at love. Know that the conflict is making you bigger. It's allowing you to get out of your selfishness that would assume that God placed conflict in your life for you to grow. You're not here to struggle. You're here to be good. Live good. And you know what? If someone does you wrong, do what Mother Teresa said. Do good anyway. If someone's jealous of you, be good anyway. If someone's angry with you or doesn't want to give, be kind anyway. Who cares? If God is all there is, you don't believe that they're wrapped in that same thing that you are? Right? When I talk about love with my daughter, she always starts off with this. I'm love. No argument. Right? Do you know that you're loved? I mean, do you really know it? Do you really know that you're wrapped in love? Do you really know that you know? And I'm not talking about a belief, because a belief is made up. A belief is a bunch of BS. A belief is something that's trying to tell you that this is what you are, and then it believes that it has a believer. But there's no believer in a belief because God didn't create them. There is only knowing, and knowing is who you are. Once you know who you are, nothing can stand in your way. So do you know right now, I'm asking you, that you're loved by God? I mean, do you know it? Can you feel it? Do you ask in your prayer work, let me feel the love? Yes. Right? Look at these kids. They're wrapped in love. And they know it. They don't have to prove it to you. I'm in love! Like, they just know it. So when you go home this week, and you're with yourself, and you close your eyes, and you go into the gates of God, and you sit in that temple and you contemplate. Contemplation means in temple. When you go into that temple of God called you, and you realize that you don't have this body, that you're not this mind, that it's nothing, that it all goes away when you close your eyes. Right? And you sit with God and you ask God, God, give me your bread, give me those ideas, nourish me with new ideas. Nourish me. You're my source. Nourish me. Let me feel your safety. Let me walk in your love. Right? And remember this. That's pathetic. How are you guys going to try? Let's do it again. God bless each and every one of you. And just know that you know that you know.